and the power of J-Skull!
Welcome, everyone, to episode... Who knows what we're up to at this point? We're a lot.
Yep.
Who knows? I think we're in the 20s somewhere. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'm your host, VHS Jason. Of course, Jason Roy Gaston, here to talk about a very interesting choice that you made in the last episode. Of all the characters in the expansive Masters of the Universe, you chose Kowl.
I wanted to annoy you.
Well, mission accomplished after watching these two episodes.
I know how much you love this character, and I thought, what better way to get under Jason's skin than to just do a character deep dive into our boy Kowl.
And you know what, Jace? I will say that when I did it, I groaned a little bit, and I watched the episodes, and he's not the most annoying character in these two episodes.
Not by a long shot, no.
Not by a long shot. So, he, as a character, though, only existed really in this series, and we got a tiny snippet of him in the reboot series, if it's a reboot series, as a stuffed animal.
Yes.
I still like to think that is actually Kowl, and they got the services of a taxidermist. I'm just saying.
Okay, first of all, I think that's very unfair to Kowl. That they stuffed him and left him as some kind of sick trophy in Glimmer's room, and yet Imp is rebooted into kind of a cool character. I think that Kowl could have been rebooted into a cool character.
I am actually surprised that they didn't go that way, because especially with these two episodes, Jason, he's fundamentally important to those episodes and does add value to the stories. I'm not sure about the characterization of Kowl in this. I don't ever think the voice choice was correct, or the personality choice. He's a bit of a pompous kind of character, bit of a know-it-all, thinks he's smarter than everyone. That's the impression I get from him anyway.
I think that we see two Kowls in both of these episodes. We see a good Kowl, and we see an irritating Kowl, and I will talk more about that later on.
Great. Well, let's get into the first episode, which we're doing, which is Welcome Back, Kowl. Which anyone from Generation X is singing Welcome Back Kotter theme in their head.
And incidentally, spoiler alert, right there, not only is that, the episode gives away the ending.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's like calling Fight Club Tyler Durden. You know,
yes,
Tyler
exactly.
Durden is not real.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, if you haven't seen a film from 24 years ago, well, I don't know what to say to you. Now we start this episode off in Kowl doing what Kowl wants to do, and is having a lovely nap. He's having a nice little sleep. Which was interesting straight off the point, because I'm thinking, oh wait, Kowl doesn't live with them?
Maybe he's some kind of weird wild animal, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I did feel like, he's not good enough to live with Adora.
Or maybe he's too good to live with Adora.
Good point. Good point. Now, Kowl's lovely afternoon nap gets quickly destroyed by some tanks, some Horde tanks.
Yes.
Dumbest tanks in the world, because tanks
extremely
really
dumb,
should be on wheels, don't you think?
They should be.
Stringly legs, maybe not the best choice for a vehicle like that.
I'm going to say something controversial. These tanks were stupid. The AT-AT walkers from Star Wars are stupid. The chicken walkers, Star Wars walkers, are stupid.
Yeah.
Tanks on legs are stupid.
They are stupid, but come on, man. Like, we can't be too harsh on the Star Wars. Tell me you didn't want an AT-AT as a kid, though.
Oh, I had an AT-AT as a kid, and it was stupid.
Yeah, because you go past it and it would fall over.
Oh, yeah. Fart in the wrong direction, it would fall over and break. I mean, come on. And, you saw the movie.
Yeah.
Tow
exactly.
lines.
You're
not going to take down a World War II tank with tow lines. That's just not going to happen.
But I do think Kowl's seen Empire Strikes Back, because I think part of his strategy to take down those tanks was derived from Empire Strikes Back. Because he quickly takes them down, and then we get introduced to this character for this episode, which I really struggle with.
Oh,
Imp.
yes. Imp.
What is Imp? What is his deal?
I don't know. I go back and forth between either Imp is Hordak's pet or Imp is Hordak's son. I don't know. It could go either way. But I do have to say it was very nice of them to exit their vehicles to deliver the exposition.
Well, they know staging. They know staging. They
Yes.
know where to hit their marks. However, I think you're right about that, actually, about him being maybe his son, because Hordak really listens to him way more than his henchman.
Yes.
You know, even makes little Imp clean himself before he goes off on his mission. Like, he's a caring parent in a way, Hordak here. He's like, just clean yourself.
That's either Imp is a kid or Imp is a kitten. I don't know which. I just know he's annoying. He is the worst character ever in any Masters of the Universe.
Absolutely.
The worst.
And apologies to the kid that they hired to do the voice, because it's clearly a kid's voice, isn't it? It sounds like a kid's voice.
I don't think it's a kid's voice.
Oh, really?
I think Imp and Lookie have the same voice. So I'm going to look it up right now to see who Imp's voice
Have
was.
a Lookie?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I have a suspicion about who the voice is, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, while you do that, we also get a big part of this episode too is Madam Raz. Ugh, this iteration of Madam Raz.
It's terrible.
Oh, it's so grindy. And I put this in the text message before. Overall, I feel like there has been a big dip in quality of the storytelling from Filmation He-Man to Filmation She-Ra. Like, to me, it was very noticeable with this episode, just the quality of the story. And, you know, not to say that Filmation He-Man was perfect, but I do feel like there was always a bit of extra flavour in their episodes, where I feel like these are very cut and paste storytelling at this point.
Which is, I do have to say that this series does have some big, strong writers behind it. J. Michael Straczynski is one of them. And
Yeah.
I know that whenever J. Michael Straczynski came along and joined the writing staff, he actually came up with a list of things they should not do anymore. And one of them was Glimmer should not be kidnapped anymore. It's been so long since I revisited Filmation She-Ra that I am having difficulty remembering quality stories. Now, I will say, even though so far the writing is not as strong as Masters of the Universe, the setup to this series is infinitely more complex, because Masters of the Universe was all about He-Man and his friends trying to keep Skeletor from taking over the world. She-Ra is about the bad guys have taken over the world. What can we do now? And I really enjoy that.
That's a good point. And let's be honest, The Secret of the Sword is an excellent beginning to this series.
Yes.
Like those, well, it was a movie, but they broke it down to 3 or 4 episodes for the series. Is excellent. Like we've done a review on that, and I found that thoroughly entertaining.
Okay. One moment.
Sorry. Yeah.
The voice of Imp was, and I'm probably going to completely butcher this name, was provided by Erica Scheimer, who was the voice of Marlena from Masters of the Universe.
Oh,
In addition to Imp, she also did the voices of Frosta, Queen Angela, Imp, I already said, Perfuma, Peekaboo, Lookie, and Flutterina.
She was busy.
She was busy, and apparently she was very versatile as well.
Mm-hmm.
Still around. She's still around. She is retired, and yes, I'm very glad she's still around. But Imp sucks. Imp sucks.
Yeah, Imp sucks. That's not her fault, but she did like, that's how good she was as a voice actor. I claimed that she was a kid. Like, so clearly talented. Yeah. Now, back to Madame Raz. Like, I really make her unlikable in this series, her iteration of her, because she's taken a bit of Orko's, I don't know how to handle magic. But it's not done with any charm. It's just like, ugh, you know? Where I feel Orko, you know, it's a big part of his character that he doesn't have that magic ring that's at the bottom of bloody Tar Swamp. He doesn't have that, so he's still goofy. But it works so well with the character, and it felt very much like why didn't you go in a different direction? Because feels very copy and pasted from that, from that Orko thing of not being good with magic.
I do kind of like how they've borrowed from other actresses to create Madame Razz, how they took a little bit of Carol Channing and they took a little bit of I can't remember the actress's name, but
thinking Phyllis Diller.
Phyllis Diller and the mom from Bewitched. I kind of feel like they took all of those and just smushed them all together.
Moorhead.
I was like, there you go. Agnes Moorehead, yes.
Yeah, I don't know why I know that. I can't even tell you where my car keys are right now, but I know it was Agnes Moorehead in Bewitched.
They're right here.
Oh, yes, thank you. But yeah, no, she just doesn't work for me, unfortunately, Madame Razz in this. And I don't think she works for the team because even the broom's having a go at her, And,
the broom is annoying, too.
Yeah.
There are so many. I think that's the reason why we're being kind of easy on Kowl right now, is because Madame Razz, Broom, and the Twiglets are so irritating, and they're all in this one episode.
Yeah, they are.
And Imp. You got Imp. You just have this perfect quartet of irritatingness.
Irritating. His plan isn't bad though. What a setup job, because the idea is Kowl goes for, because they're going to go to this village and they're at this little barn and they got to everybody's taking a rest. So Kowl goes to have a nap, gets woken up because, and I thought it was very odd that Madame Razz wanted to have a chat, but it is actually the only time I have a bit of sympathy for Madame Razz is the scene where she explains that she's aware that she makes a lot of errors and she doesn't know if she actually adds any more value to the team.
You don't.
So I thought out of the entire episode, that was a strong moment.
And this is where I think Kowl kind of shines in this episode. Because as I said, there's one episode that Kowl is great, and there's one episode where Kowl is really not that great. This is the episode I think he's great in, because here he serves as a sounding board. He's a wise sage, kind of like. He is there to offer advice and be a friend. I think he works whenever he's used in that capacity, but more often than not, they fall back on him being the I don't want to say impish complainer because I don't like the connotation of the word imp anymore, but he's the grating complainer who just thinks he's just that much better than everybody else. Here, he's more down to earth. He's more down on the level of everyone else. And I can sympathize with him in this one as well.
What's also great about the moment in this episode is while that's happening, Imp decides to set Kowl up by making him seem like he's a spy for the Horde. And I went, I think that's kind of cool little plan. That he's going to try to turn Kowl against, he's going to try to turn the team against Kowl. So it's not the worst plan they've come up with.
No, it's actually, shows. I mean, it doesn't work. I don't really ever at any time think that the team actually thought Kowl was a spy.
Well, they drill him. At one point.
They do, but it's more, hey, we just want to know. And the Twiglins are just dumb. Like, well, what about her? Yeah, it's money. It's Horde money. Where do you go spend Horde money, by the way? Is there like a Horde mall?
Yeah, is there Horde vending machines? Are there? Yeah. What's the currency converter on this?
There's a Horde Burger King somewhere. You want it your way. Too bad. This is Horde's way.
Hilarious. Now, again, here we go. Here's another example of the dumb walkers in this episode that she was easily able to knock down. When we were talking about, look at this. The reason I brought this photo up, Jason, is Bo.
I know.
I really struggle with Bo a lot in this version of She-Ra.
It's the outfit. It's just it covers his pecs and then it goes down to his belt and it's like okay, in the reboot, Bo's outfit was always a running gag. He always had to expose his abs.
Yeah.
And you can see where it comes from. You can see they watched this and they thought, we've got to drag this fashion choice here.
Problem I have with Bo is he comes up very simplistic.
He is not very smart, no.
No, he doesn't come off as the brightest spark. And essentially, he tends to pose and shoot an arrow, and that's really, in both episodes, that's all he really does here. You know, he's just someone for She-Ra or Adora to talk to, and then he shoots one arrow.
Yeah, and then his bow gets shot by a laser, and he looks surprised. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, I have to say though, again, this being the 1980s, I have to once again praise the show for being so progressive, because it was an action series with a female lead who did not have to be rescued every week. As a matter of fact, it was She-Ra who was doing the rescuing. Yeah, Bo's a moron, and he was often captured. She-Ra rushing to catch him. That was just something that was just not done at the time. So
well,
I
got to say,
deserves some props for that.
No, I got more than props. She-Ra as a character herself is fantastic.
Oh, she is. She's
like
so
every
great.
time She-Ra's on screen, the way they use her, the way she commands the situation, she's rock solid. Like, I mean, when they designed her and they got her character right, they nailed it. They really did, you know. I will say, obviously, with the 2019 version, well, sorry, when was She-Ra done? Yeah, around that time.
About that time, yeah.
She's next level in that one. But really, when it comes to Skeletor, He-Man, She-Ra, some of the big players in that era of He-Man, She-Ra, She-Ra stands very tall amongst them. In fact, in some ways, I think she's stronger than He-Man. Not physically, but just as a character.
I will agree, and I think the thing that does it is that She-Ra has a very motherly approach to people. She's almost like, I don't know, the closest thing I could think of is that she's a better version of Gaia from Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Is that she comes in and she says, yeah, I know, I'm a very deep person. She comes in, and the moment she starts talking, you just instantly trust her that she knows what's going on. That she knows how to deal with things. She comes in, and as you said, she commands the scene, but she does it without being overbearing either, because it was a very delicate balance back then. Because if a woman was too overbearing in a command situation, you know, people would sit back and go, "Oh my God, what a bitch!" You know, they would do that.
Yeah, you're so right, because when you think of the version of Adora that we get later on, it's very much built on her emotional trauma. And emotions play heavily into her as a character for the entire series.
Absolutely.
But you're so right to bring up that point. That just wouldn't have played in the 80s.
No.
There would have been a negative kickback to that.
And I honestly, I still think it works today, because unfortunately there's a lot of people who have that situation. But at the same time, I'm going to say that as a viewer today, She-Ra's personality is comforting. She's not commanding, she's comforting, and you want to follow her. It's not that you have to, it's that you want to.
When she's on screen, yeah, she commands that screen, like I said before, and she's highly watchable. And you feel, like you said, she never blows up, ever. She's always very calm, always knows exactly kind of what to say in those moments. When she's surrounded by emotional idiots, it's nice that she is the center of all that. So
yes.
I will say, though, none of the spoilers in these two episodes, the lack of other princesses, I felt very much in these two episodes. That was one thing I was going, oh, where's some princesses? I'd really like to see some princesses. But we got, 60, 70 episodes to go through?
Oh, yeah, we are going to see lots of princesses later.
Lots of princesses. Now, coming back, some of the artwork in this series is really nice. I really like this type of artwork of... Is it the Fright Zone? Is it still the Fright Zone?
I believe that is the Fright Zone, yes.
Yeah. It's gorgeous stuff, mate. This is gorgeous artwork. I think it's so... I don't know. I just love the look at it. It really reminds me of 70s album covers. What can you say?
It does have kind of a heavy metal vibe to it, and
really
I dig
does.
that. Yes.
Yeah, I dig that a lot too. Now they're going to go in and save. Who are they going in to save? Madame Raz, aren't they?
Yes, because Madame Raz got captured again.
Big shock.
Big shock.
Big shock. But we get a cool Charlie's Angels style laser scene in this, which I found kind of amusing.
Yes.
Which was good. And he wasn't kind of like keen to do it either, but, you know, he does his job. This is another example of Kowl really being important to this episode because he's a hero very much in this episode. Without him releasing those lasers, Shiro wasn't going anywhere.
No, so, and I like the fact that he was portrayed as someone who was afraid, but at the same time, he was going to go do it anyway. And that is, to me, the very definition of bravery, is being afraid, but doing it anyway.
What a great message to the kids. What a great message to the kids. I love that, because we all get scared, but yeah, it's that ability to do it anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I really dug about this episode, and I kind of like this iteration, not as much as obviously the newer one, but Shadow Weaver. I don't care what people
Shadow
think.
Weaver's awesome. She's awesome great. No matter what she's in. She's just scary.
Yeah, she is.
It's such really a great design.
It is. She's I'm not going to say. I was going to say she's rather perky. She looks after herself. So,
well, she's got magic.
She's got magic. Absolutely.
She's got magic. Yeah.
But we get a moment here where our Madame Raz gets one over Shadow Weaver, which was, another example of her moving past her own insecurities to be able to assist in that moment. So I thought it was nice that Madame Raz was the one who, took care of Shadow Weaver in this episode.
Yeah.
So I'll give her props for that, for sure. When you talk about now they've obviously got to escape, all right, and they got to jump off the roof in this episode once they've got her, and blindly they jump off the roof, which is great. Quickly followed by Tongue Lasher, Horde, and Imp. And I'll give it to Madame Raz here. I love that spell because I was thinking about the spell all after this episode finished, where she ices up Tongue Lasher's tongue, right? And I'm thinking, man, when does that stop? Is that going to go up and freeze him totally? And I thought to myself, does it break off? Is Tongue Lasher without a tongue now? And how long is his tongue?
I don't know. I was kind of surprised to see Tongue Lasher here because Tongue Lasher's one of the Snake Men. And you can tell that they just did not know what to do with the Snake Men by this point. So they're just like, put him in the Horde. I don't know.
I get the feeling they had all these leftover molds from Mattel had all these leftover molds from Snake Men, and we're like, we need more villains for sure. Here, just take this mold.
Yeah.
There you go. You got your character. It's good. When you talk about come back to Kowl and you talk about him seizing the moment, and he's usually pompous at, he gets angry in this episode at one point when he finally gets a hold of Imp, and this is a shot where he grabs Imp. And look at him. Kowl is not happy.
He's about to just put his head down and chew Imp's face off or something. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah,
Kowl.
You could have pecked out his eyeballs for sure. Yeah. But no, he throws him in that fruit again, which was a nice little callback to an earlier gag.
There's something in the scene that doesn't make sense though.
Okay, please.
So Kowl grabs Imp and brings him up there, and Imp is going, no, put me down, no. And I'm just like, bro, why are you scared? You can fly.
Yeah, you can fly. Why wouldn't it be a tug of war? You flapping your little wings.
Yeah, you're gonna drop me? Oh no, what are you gonna do? I can fly.
Yeah, again, yeah.
And now I'm gonna turn myself into a missile and blow you up. Again, evidence that Imp is Hordak's son is that Imp is a shapeshifter as well.
Yeah. Now, I don't think we did talk about, there is that scene, is it at the end or earlier, where they start to question what's happened in regards to the Twig people. They find the money, and there's an accusation.
Yeah.
None of them, you're right, none of them really believe that Kowl would ever betray them. But it was interesting that they were kind of pseudo-interrogating what was going on here. Bit of an interesting choice. But of course, at the end of the day, they all know Kowl's awesome. And they have the moment where Bo gets to put his hands on his hips again to show his guns. And everybody's enjoying each other.
Just that wardrobe, my gosh. It's like
that wardrobe, but her
nothing to the imagination at all. It's so weird.
As much as I love She-Ra, I see no reason in this series, in the Filmation series, to adore her to really exist.
They needed that secret identity because that was child wish fulfillment, is that they could secretly be a hero.
But in the show, seriously, Adora brings nothing to the table. Where you have an opposite scenario in the other series where it really is all about Adora. The focus is on Adora, not as much She-Ra. So it's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Overall, it's not a horrible episode, except for Imp. If they could have done something with him, it's not a... Yeah, and Kowl comes, as you're right, comes off pretty damn good in this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was mid, to be quite honest. Unsurprising, a little cliche. I liked Cowl's characterization, but so many of these side characters are so irritating.
She would do so much better if she cut them all off. You know,
absolutely.
Because none of them really... The thing is, in this episode, She-Ra's really not at any threat herself, though, at any point.
No.
You know what I mean? If she was going to get captured or something like that, then you see the purpose for having a team. But throughout this episode, she would have done a lot better without any of them. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, there wouldn't have been a problem if any of them hadn't have been around either.
Yeah, that's true.
Would have been like, I beat up some tanks, and yep, that's my day. I'm gonna go to the Whispering Woods and go hang out at the Crystal Castle playset, now available from Mattel.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have that, do you, Jace?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, so the second episode in this choices that you made is Zoo Story.
Very interesting title. You can tell that somebody's into absurdist theater right there, because Zoo Story is a stage play about a man trying to get to the zoo and the conversation he has with somebody who at a bus stop, and it's an interesting
How do you know
play.
That one? Because I know of it.
Yeah, theater major.
Theatre mate, there you go.
Yep.
You can tell we were involved in the theatre at some point, the pair of us. It's a Zoo Story, because that's what I was thinking as soon as I saw the episode.
Now, how do you know about that? You can't read.
Yeah. Hey, some good writers in this one. Larry DiTilio is one of the writers for this. And Mike Chain. I feel like Mike Chain was involved in He-Man as well, was he?
I could not tell you off the top of my head, to be honest.
I'm not familiar.
Not 100% certain who the first person was either.
Larry DiTilio, he's one of the major writers from He-Man Filmation. He's up there for me with Straczynski and Paul Dini. As far as I'm concerned, he's one of the big ones. So.
Yeah, I recognize Paul Dini. I recognize J. Michael Straczynski, but they've gone on to do things
great things
beyond He-Man. Great things.
Beyond, yes, absolutely.
Yes, great DC projects and 3 out of 5 seasons on Babylon 5. I said what I said.
Whoa. He did. Hang on a minute. How did he not do 5? I thought he wrote all 5.
No, he did. I said he did great things, and that includes 3 out of 5 seasons of Babylon 5. I said what I said.
Okay, I know this is not a Babylon 5 show, but what seasons were the worst for you? We should say them in synchronization. So
1 and 5.
1 and 5, yeah. Yeah, it's got good guts to it, but yeah, the beginning and the end is pretty ridiculous with Babylon 5.
Yeah,
so.
It really is. Although the last episode, chef's kiss, I will say that.
Yeah, maybe Star Trek should have looked at that.
If you like feeling depressed for an entire hour, that's an episode for you.
We'll have to dig into that show one day. Right now we're digging into Zoo Story. And at the start of this episode, we have our heroes, Bimbo Bo, and
Bimbo, there we go.
Yeah, Bimbo, that's what we're calling him. So we got Bimbo, we got She-Ra, and we've got our a star of our show this week, Kowl, just kind of riding along. No real kind of purpose to it at this point, except for some reason we need to set up the gag that's going to save them later in the episode. And so I didn't know Bimbo was a card magic kind of guy. So
I think he was whatever they needed him to be every week. That's just it.
I did like it because Cowl's annoyed at the whole thing. If you actually see how they animated, he's not impressed with any of that. In fact, he's even annoyed he has to pull the cards out of him, and he says to him, "You're not getting these back." So I don't have to see it again.
Kowl is just a pill in this episode from beginning to end. This is the episode that I think really shows all of Cal's worst traits: complaining and whining, and his superiority complex. Again, if it's written well, it works for him. Here, you're just like, shut up, you ugly basset hound, owl looking whatever you are.
Well, I will say there could be a very mature reason why he's feeling so aggravated, which a character we get introduced in this episode might help him with that aggravation, because I assume Cow's very lonely.
Yes.
But
it couldn't be that personality, though.
No. Now, what we do find out is all the animals are missing. They're all gone, except for the Phoenix from Harry Potter, who seems to be flying around. Now, the Phoenix from Harry Potter quickly gets taken over by a cool little thing I liked in this episode. Just this dark thing coming across and it's gone.
Yes, it was very cool.
Like that. I did like that idea. Because we're building a mystery now. We're building the mystery is what is happening with this, with these animals. And it's probably one of the stronger parts of the episode for me is that we do have a mystery that isn't automatically obvious what it is. I mean, it's obvious in fact, Horde's got something to do with, but you don't know exactly what it is. So it's interesting. Now, all the animals are gone, which I have to raise a question later on because I don't think there's many animals on the Theria. So, no. They certainly just have 2 of everything. That's it.
Well, that's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Meanwhile, we cut to a great little clip here of the Horde. And we've got a bit of a convoy going with our good old friend.
Convoy rolling through the Horde.
There we go.
It is not a good look that Grizzlor purposely damages Horde property just to get the car in front of him to speed up.
I like that.
I could just see them pulling into the Horde garage. Horde comes out. Who dented up these bumpers?
I like the fact that
do you have any idea how much Horde money it'll take to fix this?
They really hate each other, don't they?
Yes.
And he starts off, when I get a move on, bug eyes. I got to say, he's my favourite design of any of the character henchmen of She-Ra is this guy here. I love his design.
I like him too, but I like
You're a Grizzlor man?
I like
Grizzlor man?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I liked Mantenna too, but Grizzlor was I don't know why, but this character just fascinated me as a kid. I guess I thought he was like Bigfoot or something, but yeah.
Yeah. But I love their banter. I love the fact that they are at each other. But, they've got to be stopped. And the person, so of course, if you've got to stop them, what are you going to do? You apparently shoot an arrow at it.
Bimbo!
So Bimbo shoots an arrow at her and basically stops one of them, I believe. But the other one's coming for him, which I really kind of dug as well. Kind of skipped past that. But it's this moment here is like, he's going to get run over, man.
Yep. And once again, it's not She-Ra that needs the day saved. It's Bimbo who needs to be saved.
Yep. And, of course, She-Ra saves it by doing a classic "you're not moving" car routine. And
look at the way they drew her right there. That just screams power without muscle. Well, I'm not saying she's not muscles, but just the way that they have her stance there, it looks very good.
And it's not really bothering her, like, strength-wise. No. I mean, at one point she goes, just kind of, but she ain't putting a lot of effort. And it's great because it's like, that's how powerful she is.
Now, was she going, because it was hard to hold, or was she going, because, like, her skirt was riding up or something?
Could have been. And also could have been going, Bimbo, I'm holding this. Do you want to get you and your dumbass horse, get up and get out of the way, please? Like, I don't know if you've ever known a horse, but when they fall down, they generally get straight back up.
Yes.
So, they don't hang around all day.
Smart horses do. But, you got to have a dumb horse for a dumb man.
So,
yeah, those two are dead. They're dead.
I know, right? I saw that, and I'm like,
she killed them.
This is a horrific car crash scene here. This isn't great at all.
They never check in on them either. It's like, oh, wait, they're dead.
They're dead. But, they as I showed before, they capture, like, they've got Mantenna, and they put him in a cage. So there's a bit of irony here. You're taking cages to someone to capture. Well, we're going to put you in a cage, which I like.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. And I love the fact that immediately Grizzlaw and Montana get into it.
I guess he wasn't dead after all. I don't know. He looked dead.
They look dead. They look like they should be in one of those informational films that would show kids when they're learning how to drive. Like, don't crash or you'll end up like Grizzlaw and Montana.
I have to say this also. Two things. One, I love the fact that Adora left is all the explanation Bimbo needed.
Yes.
Yeah. Where's Adora? Oh, she left. Oh, okay. That's it. It's no, well, where did she go? Is she okay? No, she left.
Well, you can't expect Bimbo to have the intellectual prowess to ask such a basic question.
I think he knows Adora is She-Ra. It's just, where's Adora? She left. Uh-huh. Okay. And secondly, I'm going to make another controversial statement because apparently I'm just going to make everybody mad today. 80s She-Ra transformation is better than 80s He-Man transformation.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because I love the effects that they do. I love that it goes from Castle Grayskull in the beginning of the transformation to, sorry, what's the building shown in the background?
The Crystal Castle.
The Crystal Castle. It then goes to that. I love the fact that she is, I am She-Ra.
Yes.
Like, I like that because the thing would have been, I also have the power.
Yeah. I have the power too, and I'm a girl.
Yeah, and I'm a girl.
I have the girl power. You know somebody suggested that during a meeting.
Also, the music with the change is better.
I love that. It's a bop.
We've actually talked about on chat.
She-Ra's score is so awesome. It's got He-Man was always this barbarian fantasy score. She-Ra brought in the 80s rock, and I
enough that you sent me a playlist in our chat, and I rocked that all afternoon, man.
It's so
that
great.
Was awesome. The music was amazing, and it all came from the fact that I'm a big fan of Orko's theme from He-Man. I love Orko's theme, but She-Ra takes that kind of energy, that type of is it synth pop music, whatever music.
I don't know what you call it. I just know I like it.
But it's awesome. Yeah, me too. Like, I get right into it. Did you get right into this?
Okay, Kowl is so full of himself that he falls in love with someone who looks just like him, except they've got long eyelashes. That would be like me finding someone who looks like me, except they've got long eyelashes and going, "You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen." Get over yourself, Kowl.
Okay, pick me up at 8 for dinner. Now, of course, she gets captured by the mysterious black cloud, and so does our friend Kowl. Here's a question I have for you, because I don't get this. Quickly, She-Ra and Bimbo, they find they come up against feathers. Now, I don't know about you, dude, but do these guys look like they have feathers? I always thought that was fur.
They gotta have feathers if they're gonna fly. And his name is Kowl. I guess he's a cross between a koala and an owl. I don't know. We're going by Avatar.
I think that's basically it.
Yeah, we're going by Avatar rules.
The feathers thing is like, that's it. I don't buy any of this episode now because there are feathers, and I've never seen feathers on Kowl before. It bothered the hell out of me. Also, what bothered the hell out of me, going back to what you said on the other episode, is once these twos are captured, they're freaking out. Why wouldn't they try at least to fly away?
Well, the Vulture from Spider-Man has got them.
Yeah. Michael Keaton's got to keep busy. Now,
this character, by the way, is a recycled He-Man character that they were never going to use. He was originally created for an aborted episode in which He-Man and Stratos were going to fight a bad guy together.
Really?
And for some reason, that episode was never made, and his character design was recycled into She-Ra. And I think he's a really good-looking character. I think he looks nice.
It's a strong-looking character. I love his design, actually. It's
not really a big fan of the fact that it's basically the Hordak actor doing the Hordak voice, just in a higher timbre. But, I think it works.
It works. And we get to reveal that he's he's Horde's personal zookeeper.
Yes, I didn't know Horde had a zoo. This guy also sounds like Alf. He does. He sounds just like Alf.
Wow.
At first, I thought it was the Alf voice actor. I was like, is that Alf? No, that's the guy who does the voice of Hordak.
That also explains why there's no cats in the zoo.
Exactly.
They're already in his belly.
Yes.
Here you go. Now, the zoo. Now, as we pointed out, not a lot of animals on Etheria. Like, they seem to be quite thin on their animal kingdom. So, but he captures both of them to add them to his personal zoo, which is kind of
weird.
You know, it's a small zoo or it's a massive zoo. We just haven't seen all the animals. Oh, there you go.
I would like to think that maybe he's just not a good zookeeper and all the animals are dying. It's like Disney's Animal Kingdom.
No, we'll get cut off for that because we said that we offended the mouse, and you know how powerful the mouse is.
Shut him down!
Shut 'em
How
down.
dare they? Bring me a panda steak and shut this channel down. Do we own He-Man? Buy He-Man.
Buy He-Man, so we can shut it down. I can't do the voice, but shut it down. Now, I know I've been making comparisons in this episode to the newer She-Ra show.
It's hard not to.
It's hard not to, especially for this scene when they go into the bar. Very reminiscent of when they went into that desert bar in She-Ra season 3 or 4. But I like it. Everyone seems to love cards, by the way, in this universe.
Okay, the Horde troopers are robots, right?
I thought they were robots.
Okay, they are robots.
Not in this episode.
Even the action figures, you know, they come apart. They're robots. Who programmed these robots to feel pain and fear?
That's why I question whether they're robots, because they make the grunting noise when She-Ra owns them. Look at She-Ra there.
Not even flinching. Yeah.
You're not even flinching. This is nothing. You're just cannon fodder.
I still think they're robots, though. It's just somebody programmed them to feel emotion, which is probably the most evil thing Hordak has ever done. I need an army of robots, and I want them all to feel pain.
Well, he's got the upgraded models because clearly the zookeeper's getting the cheap R2 models with tentacle arms, which is really good.
Somebody in Japan has written fanfic about them. I just know it.
Absolutely. So Birdman is obviously, you know, owning the zoo now because that's very much Birdman wings. Come on, from the old animated series.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And,
Harvey
you know,
Birdman.
Yeah, so you know what's going to happen in the rest of this episode now. This is the big problem with this episode is once they reveal who he is, once the mystery's over 10 minutes in, we know exactly what's going to happen here. But I didn't think it would go down to this, where he plays a card trick on robots. On robots, Jason. He's playing the card game, and they all fall for it.
I need an army of robots. I want them all to feel fear and pain and be very stupid.
They're clearly running Windows 95 like as an operating system. It's very old and basic. Meanwhile, they've got to be saved, my friend. They've got to be saved. And the only people who are going to save them is She-Ra and Bimbo.
Yes.
And how do they get into the zoo? Quite easy. I didn't realize She-Ra also had Aquaman powers.
Well, you know, she can do anything she wants if the writers demand it.
Exactly. And she's able to convince a couple of crocs. What are they called? Snappergators or something like that?
Something like it. Like Avatar The Last Airbender animal rules. They're two animals smushed into one.
Smushed into one, which I go with. So they get to surf a couple of crocs across the giant moat to go in and save, you know? But the most egregious thing about Bimbo happens in this episode for me, dude. The dumbest arrow ever. The boomerang arrow. The boomerang arrow, that really doesn't come back because he ties up Birdman's legs and then She-Ra pulls him down. Meaning, you know, boomerang didn't come back. So in a straight, I'm highly offended.
Yeah, they definitely had some Green Arrow influences here at times.
I doubt. But it's just like, that was just a dumb arrow. It didn't need to be a boomerang arrow. It could have been any arrow that, like, you know, with a bit of rope at the end of it, get him, and away we go. What's Battle Cat up to? Sorry, if you're not realising, Battle Cat is Jason's kitten. And Battle Cat, just like its name, is a very adventurous little girl, sorry. She indeed has the power, as you can see. Absolutely gorgeous. Full of trouble. Full of seething hate, which she will eventually display onto Jason. But right now, she's gorgeous. So
Yes.
So hello, Battle Cat. Have you got any purring? Is she purring at the moment?
I don't know if you can hear that.
Feed me, feed me. That's all I'm hearing. Feed me.
Why didn't you tell me you were doing your podcast? I could be ruining it right now.
Right now, absolutely.
She usually gets zoomies during the podcast and just crashes into things.
If you do watch our podcast, there's plenty of evidence of that in the last few weeks. So wonderful. Well, thanks, Battle Cat, for being such a gorgeous, well-behaved little kitten today. It's great.
Now, what's
you
wrong
are
with
better
you?
than just about most of the characters in this episode. So no doubt.
I do have to say something about Kowl, though, in this episode.
Yep.
And that is that despite the fact I think this is not the best episode that features Kowl compared to the other one, he does show character growth. He does take his freedom for granted at the beginning. He realizes this by the end. He uses skills acquired during the episode to escape. I think that that's pretty good character growth for a character who's really not that great.
It is. The fact that, like the last two episodes, they do things early in the episode that pay off at the end of the episode. And the card trick, as much as lame it is a good setup for him to be able to escape. But really, Cow's not caring about that right now. Cow's just thinking about maybe hooking up. Perhaps.
Would you like to make some children that look just like us, only smaller?
Though she seems very sweet. She's too good for him, I gotta say. She's so lovely, so sweet. I don't know what her name is. She
Probably
Kowl.
Cowlette.
Yeah, Cowlette or She Kowl. Yeah, way too good for Kowl. Like in the normal dating world, it wouldn't have gone past the first couple of messages on Tinder. He was like, that guy's a knob. I'm swiping. So. But there you go. Now, the end of this episode is pretty well tied up by the fact that Kowl gets the keys, opens up, all the animals start to escape.
A manticore.
Yeah. And our Birdman gets trapped. And that's really the end of the episode. I think we cut back to a scene with everybody laughing. And that's basically it for this episode. Very simple episode called Zoo Story. But yeah, Kowl. I don't know how many other episodes there are, Kowl as being the main figure, but I wish there were more because I think there was something there. And I think you mentioned it earlier in the show, is that there is something really there that you could have developed that was a lot stronger with that character. So yeah, it is surprising that they didn't redo him for She-Ra and Princesses of Power. It's just a bit of a shock.
I am very surprised as that as well. I think he would have been a pretty good addition to the cast, but maybe they just felt like they didn't have the time.
Oh, I mean, it's probably right because
it was very tightly plotted.
It was, and each one of those characters has served so well and given so much emotional depth and story arcs. Except
for Natasha and Spinnerella. Yeah. You know it's true.
Yeah, they came late to the game, didn't they, really, and weren't really...
Well, they were there early, it's just nobody noticed.
Well, there you go. That I'd forgotten they were even there early, so... But there you go. But you know what we haven't done? And I've got both clips for both of these episodes of Lookie.
Oh, yes.
Not a fan of Lookie.
I like
Lookie.
I like Lookie. I'm sorry.
And the thing is, I'm not very good at finding things and images, but it's an interesting concept that you brought up, is the idea of having a character that is secretly hidden throughout each episode. It's kind of a cool thing. Let's take a look at the first clip from Welcome Back, Kowl, and hear what they've got to say. Let's have a look.
Hi there! Did you see where I was hiding today? There I am! Today we saw how Kowl didn't really appreciate his freedom until he lost it. So remember, we should concentrate on the good things we have, like sunsets and flowers in our family. And let's take the time to show our appreciation by saying thank you. You'll be glad you did. See you next time with you.
Well, that was from Zoo Story, that clip. That was
Yes.
actually the Zoo Story thing. Was there a character ever made of Lookie?
I don't know if they ever made an action figure of Lookie, but I do know there's a couple of episodes that feature Lookie, and they were always a very rare treat. And as I said, I liked him. I liked the interaction that you could look for this character in the episode.
It's very abbreviated moral storytelling in a way. The moral kind of lesson of each episode. They abbreviate it quite a bit, don't they? Which I don't
Yes,
mind.
they do.
Yeah, which I don't mind. Let's have a look at now the one from Welcome Back, Kowl. Let's have a look at this one.
Hi there, it's your friend Lookie again. Did you find me today? If not, here's another chance. See me now? Here I am. In today's story, Madame Raz felt bad because her magic spells didn't work. But nobody does everything right all the time. We learn from trying, and it's certainly better to try and not get something right than not to try at all. So keep trying, okay? Okay.
You know, again, a good moral lesson. It's a good moral lesson is, hey, we all make mistakes, and part of learning is failing. That's how you learn the most. So, again, this era of He-Man She-Ra, the moral lessons on point, very solid.
Absolutely.
Battle Cat clearly agrees in the background.
Yeah, she's found a cap, so she's playing with it on the ground.
Ah, that sounds cap.
Yes. Ha!
Yeah, some. Cap means lying now, isn't it?
Yes,
like,
it
I don't
does.
know. I'm old. I have no idea about terminology these days. Now, here we are. We're at the end of it. Look, probably I will say it's the weakest two episodes out of everything that we've watched so far. I would say personally for me, they were the two weakest episodes I've seen.
I would have to agree on this one. Yes. Even though I don't think Kowl is quite as bad as you make him out to be, definitely the weakest two episodes we've seen.
Yeah. No, yeah, you know what? After talking to you, you've kind of moved that gauge for me a little bit from pure disgusting hate to, I could bear with it at this point. So
At least he's not Imp or Raz
I don't even
Bloom
wanna
or the
hit-
Twiglets.
like talking about clearly, right? There's a writer's room. Imagine the writer's room in the developing She-Ra and the Princess of Power, 2018 perhaps. They see him. First thing, smartest thing to do is he ain't having a voice no more.
Oh, yes.
Gonski is any audible. And now what we will make him is take the best elements of that character and just play on that. In fact, that he was sneaky and he could get information. What was so brilliant about it was the fact that he could mimic voices. So he was like a flying recording machine. You know what I mean?
Right.
like,
I loved him in the reboot. He was great.
Yeah, a lot stronger in the reboot.
Now,
for
what
sure.
should we do about Kowl? Kill him. Make him a stuffed animal. It's fine.
It is interesting, though. I wonder if the show had continued, whether we would have gotten to see Kowl in that show. Because I think if the show's running 8 or 9 seasons, I think there would have been opportunity to bring him in.
Well, we're always talking about doing that one special look back or look forward on
We are.
She-Ra. Maybe
We're going to be looking forward to what we think, what happened to those characters, what we'd like to see happen with those characters. So that is a special that'll be coming up in the next few weeks coming up. Which now begs the question, Jason, what will we be doing on our next Power of J-Skull? Where are we going next time?
Well, I don't have specific episodes in mind, but I thought since I tortured you this week, thought I'd cut you a break and take a look at one that I know is your favorite character. And I'm sure you already know who that is.
I think he starts with an S.
Yes. Correct? Stratos. We're going to look at Stratos.
Now, like, mind you, you know, I'm biased already about the audible voice of Stratos. I know.
yes.
Absolutely.
He-Man.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait. I really can't wait to do a Stratos. So it is my favourite character. In fact, I've been on the hunt for the figure for ages now, right? Not the re-released with this flesh-coloured skin, but the original grey one. And yesterday, our good friend on the channel, Ricardo Perone, found one for me.
The original?
apparently an Origin Stratos he sent me a picture of. So nice. I will be going to pick that up. So I'm really excited because him and Beastman are the two that I need to add to my collection. So thank you. Yes, you've taken me from the depths of hell and you're rising me up to the peaks of heaven with the next show. So
that's right. We're going to look at Stratos on the next episode. And if you don't, you're going to get a pop in the mouth.
I think this is a good time now also, Jason, to kind of announce to the guys that something we're going to be doing in this show moving forward. Something I thought quite interesting. Because the problem with, we love our Master Universe and there's so much to see and to dive into, but there's also, as it's opened the door up, that we might actually start looking at some other shows from that era. Not only 80s.
From that era, but also from the 90s and 2000s, and because I know I've been talking about introducing you to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Which is, I've seen the first 2 episodes and absolutely love that.
Yes.
But what we're going to be doing, guys, if you ever watch it, we do another show called VHS Vault, and the format of that show is fantastic because what we do is we are doing a retrospective series at the same time we do looking back at other movies. So once every fortnight, we're currently looking at Friday the 13th films. And so we watch them every fortnight. In between, we do other movies. We spin a wheel to do that. And we love doing that. And if you're on a good thing, why change it? So what we're going to be doing moving forward, and this will happen in about a month or so, where we're going to have a Power of J. Skull wheel. So what we'll do is 1 week we'll talk about our favourite character. We'll do a special episode on He-Man. But at the end of that show, we'll be spinning a wheel to have a look at some of the greatest animated series of all time. Now, you can't make out any names on here.
Some of the greatest and some of the not so greatest, because I did try to put some not very well regarded shows on there as well.
I'm seeing one here. GoBots.
I grew up watching GoBots because we didn't have Transformers, and I loved GoBots.
I ended up owning way more GoBots than Transformers because GoBots were affordable.
Yeah, they were cheap.
Yeah. So we have, guys, the Flintstone Kids. I'd have to put that up there. Not a big fan of the Flintstone Kids. But we have got some absolutely amazing stuff to do. So we will be spinning that coming up soon. So here's an example. Let's do an example. What could it land on? Hypothetically, so if this was real, we would be doing the original 70s Ghostbuster. But we're not doing that right
Yes,
now.
That's not the real Ghostbusters. That is the Filmation Ghostbusters.
Exactly. But we're not doing that yet. We're just giving you a preview of what's coming up in the future of this show. But next week, strap on your wings, guys, because we're flying high with Stratos, and I can't wait.
You're going to have to wait. Because it's not until next time.
Not until next time. But until then, we will see you next time on
The Power of J. Skull.
All right.
He-Man e i dominatori dell'universo.
Io sono Adam, principe di Eternia, il difensore dei segreti del castello di Grayskull. Questo è Krieger, il mio eroico amico. Scoprii di avere certi favolosi poteri segreti il giorno che sollevai verso il cielo la mia spada magica e dissi: per la forza di Grayskull! La grande forza è con me! Krieger diventò il possente Battlecat e io diventai He-Man, l'uomo più forte e potente dell'intero universo. Soltanto in 3 sono a parte del mio segreto. La nostra amica Sorceress, Man at Arms e Orco. Insieme difendiamo il castello di Grayskull dalle forze demoniache di Skeletor.